Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cyrus Webb Presents Conversations ATL. We're excited you guys could be with us today. I'm excited to be here with another great guest. You guys know we've been sharing the stories of others. Our next guest is able to tell stories through music, but also through his podcast, be able to do the same things as well. We're excited to welcome Trozay to our program today. We're going to talk to him not only about his love of music, but also what it's been like for him to do what he loves through his podcast, and of course, let you guys know how to stay connected with him as well. Thank you again for the time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, glad to do it. So as I mentioned, people have gotten to know you through music, but what has it been like for you now through the podcast to be able to open up a new door and share the stories of other people?
It's been amazing, honestly. My goal was to create a platform. Well, just a real quick backstory. Used to work in radio. I was a radio personality for 94.7 The Link, and I had the opportunity to do interviews at the 50th anniversary of hip hop. And so I interviewed Scrappy, D4L, Andre Dickens, and they all started the conversation off with, man, I had to get it out the mud. And so my podcast is called Get It Out the Mud. And because when they said it resonated in me, and I was like, you know what, I can relate to that. And I know others can relate to it as well. And so that, made that created Get It Out the Mud podcast, because I wanted to be able to create this platform to have people come and tell their story of how they got it out the mud and how a lot of us are still continuing to get it out the mud, because it's not an easy journey.
So I'm so glad you said that. So talk to us then about the backstory of your journey to where you are today, because even for you to be able to have the courage to ask about that is one thing. What has it been like for you to kind of reflect on what got you here? We're not just talking about the podcast, but also music and pursuing your dream.
Yeah, no, definitely. So honestly, what got me to this point now is it has definitely been a journey. For me, I know that I wasn't always confident in wanting to do music. I knew it was something that I enjoyed, but I always did it behind closed doors. It was something that I would do in the shower, because I didn't feel like, I didn't know how people would receive me or perceive my music, or, because with music or with anything that you're passionate about, you're going to get criticism from people who don't know you. And so I just got to a place to where I was like, you know what? Can I cuss? I can't. Let me not. I was just trying to I just got to a place where I chose to, put it out there. I was like, you know what? It is what it is. Some people going to like it, some may not. Regardless, at the end of the day, I'm doing what is best for me, something that I want to do for me. And so I pushed myself and I did the music. And with me doing music, it opened up other opportunities to where I was approached with the opportunity to have my own podcast, not my own radio show with 94.7 The Link. Never have done journalism or done anything with media. So for that opportunity to come along and for me to just embrace it, because I was in that space of where I'm doing it. Whatever it is, if I feel like it's good, if it's a fit for me, I'm doing it. Right. And so that kind of like put me in these spaces to where now I am doing media, like a lot of media, and being in front of the camera and having these conversations, and also creating platforms to allow other people to have these conversations as well. Because like I said, it's not easy. It's never comfortable wanting to share something that you're passionate about with other people, because you just never know how they're gonna react.
So a couple things you said there, I think will be really good for our audience, which is a lot of those either in the arts and entertainment industry or aspiring to be a part of the arts in some form. A lot of it comes down to courage, though, and belief in yourself. So I have to go back and ask you, when did you start believing in you enough to pursue it?
When did I start believing in me? Ooh, that's a good question. Once I put my first single out and I performed, so my first performance was in Brooklyn, New York, and I was so nervous. I was drinking. A lot of drinking. And by the time, and mind you, so we got to the spot, we had actually went and got food before we went to the event. So I had some food, and by the time we got to the event, my stomach was messed up. So and on top of me being nervous, and on top of me doing all of this drinking, I felt horrible. So I had to like run downstairs. Mind you, it was like maybe 4 flights of stairs. I would have to run down to go throw up and then go back up. So I did it like twice before they called me to the stage. And at that moment, I was like, Tim, get it together. Get it together. And so for me to have went up there and performed, and no one knew that what I was dealing with in that moment, like I really wanted to just like fall out. Gotcha. But I was able to get up there and execute my song and feel good about it. But as soon as I was done, I ran out because I had to throw it again. But because I was able to do that, that was like, you know what, Tim, you got this. Yeah. You can make this happen. And regardless how you was able to go up here in front of all of these people and put on a show and they not know that you was not feeling your best and still be able to perform, execute the song, do a great job, and this was your first performance, bro, you him. You are definitely him. And I had to amp myself up and I had to make sure that I felt good about it because at the end of the day, it's about me. Yeah. This was something that I wanted to do for me. And I was able to go up there and make it happen. I made it happen, and afterwards, it just was up from there. It's been up, and I mean, sometimes I feel even with it being up, I still have doubts. Mm-hmm. I still question myself. I still question everything that I'm doing, and you know, my affiliates, and you know, everything around me. It's a part of life. I'm constantly doing that, but at the end of the day, I know that there's a bigger picture, and there's something I'm reaching for, and I'm not going to allow anything to stop me from reaching it.
Love that. Love that. And you have a great support system here. Some of them are doing this live here as well. Met some new folks, as well as Anthony Clark, who introduced me to you. And appreciate Anthony. How important has that been? I really do believe that your elevation has a lot to do with who you surround yourself with, because either they're going to push you or pull you down.
Yes.
So talk to us about what that's been like you to figure that out, who those people are for you.
It took some time. It took some time because I was in a space to where I did not feel like I had anyone. I felt like I had to push through and do it for me because at the end of the day, I'm going to always have me. And by the grace of God, like these individuals came around and it stuck this time. It stuck, you know how when you throw spaghetti at the wall, the noodles at the wall. This time it stuck. So it was like, okay, these are my people. And it's a blessing to find your people. Of course, it comes with ups and downs, you know what I mean? But when it does come with those ups and downs and y'all are able to talk it through and come to like understanding and respect for one another, that lets you know they're for you and I'm for them. So it was not easy because you have to be mindful of who you give your energy to, who you affiliate yourself with, and who you put time into, because it could be time is all we have on this earth, and you don't want to look back and have wasted time and with someone or something that had nothing for you, and you're pouring into them and you're not being poured back into, you know? Yeah,
such a great point. I want to say hello to Sherry Elise, who's joining us on the West Coast. Sherry, I think I missed you when I was in Los Angeles last week. Hope all is well with you. She said true story, though. So for those who are just tuning in, welcome. Y'all are watching Cyrus Webb Presents. I want to say it correctly this time. It is Trozay.
Trozay.
So, but I have to ask you the story. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because when you were giving yourself the pep talk, you called yourself Tim.
Yeah. That is true.
So, how did you come up with the name Trozay?
So Trozay, it's so funny because when I first started performing, it was T Rose. Okay. But people would always just spell it to get Trozay. And I was just like, you know what? Okay. It's Trozay. And so it's my first initial and last name.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
So, yeah.
So do you find that Trozay has to give Tim those pep talks sometimes?
Absolutely. All the time. Yes. Trozay has to talk to Tim. Tim has to talk to Trozay. But yeah, I feel there's balance with both sides because those are two different entities. Those are two different people. And, you know, Trozay is like, it's a light switch. Like I have to turn on for people. Like I turn on into this personality because that's what it is. But Tim is just more so laid back, chill, very very soft spoken. I will say that. But Trozay, he's loud.
There seems to be a theme that we've been having with the conversations I've had here in Atlanta this time, and that is the importance of someone's story. It kind of goes back to the podcast, though.
Yes.
So as you're building your profile as an artist,
Mm-hmm.
Did you have any hesitation of adding something else that may say, okay, for people who may not know you from music, to be able to add something else to your portfolio as a podcast host?
I'm continuing to add. It's two different entities. I know for a fact the one thing that sticks out for me is that I want to help others. That's always been the goal, is to be able to remind people that they're worthy. They're worth it. They should love it themselves, and whatever they want to accomplish, they can make it happen regardless of anyone supporting them. And so I continue to create these platforms so people can have a voice. I continue to do my music to speak to those who feel like they are alone, because I know how that feels. And if I know how that feels, I know someone else out there is feeling the same way. And so being able to create all of these avenues to bring some type of comfort for someone out there is really my goal.
Love it. So for yourself, one thing I haven't asked anyone today, so I'll ask you this question.
Okay.
I think a lot of people, they are so in the moment, right? And trying to do the next thing, which makes sense, right? We all are trying to do that thing. Do you ever take out time to stop and pause and give yourself credit for what you've already done?
No, but that's why I have my friends. I don't. But in those moments where they remind me, that's when it's like, you're right. Thank you. I appreciate that. And thank you for acknowledging that. Thank you for seeing me.
And is that also part of the podcast, making sure other people know that they are being seen?
Yep, it is. It is. I want people to be kind, and honestly, and it's been a blessing. I feel like every interview we've had, they always leave with saying like how amazing the interview went, how they felt comfortable, and everyone on the team was so genuine. So and that brings comfort to me, because I never want anyone to feel uncomfortable.
Gotcha. How did you decide on what lane you wanted? Because as you were talking about earlier, there are different lanes out there. Mad respect to them. Everyone's different, even from my show and others that are out there. How did you decide on what lane you wanted to try to occupy for yourself?
How did I decide? I felt strongly about my podcast. Although I'm still doing my music, I know that there's so much I can offer, and it can be a bit overwhelming when you're trying to do multiple things at one time. But I'm up for the challenge, and so I was, and that's why I created a team. I have a team behind me to help support with those different entities that I have going on. Henri does music. Well, both of them do music, but she's also Ashley is my co-host. Ella, I'm sorry. But so it's also like that's how I was able to kind of, because I also have a clothing line. Like I do a lot. I do photography. Like there's so many layers to Tim Trozay. So, but it's always good to have a team to be able to bounce those ideas off of, and also to help with the process of what it looks like and how we can move forward with making it happen.
Love that. Great conversation with you, man. Again, everyone, Trozay.
Trozay.
has been our guest today. He is a recording artist and a podcast host. Let them know how to be able to stay connected with the podcast and stay connected with you.
Yes, it's on YouTube. Get It Out the Mud podcast. Get It Out the Mud. GETOUTTHEMUDD.
There you go. Thanks again for stopping by.
No, thank you for having me.
Really appreciate it. And we thank you all for tuning in to another great segment of Cyrus Webb Presents. Until next time, you all make it a great one. We'll talk to you soon.
Peace.
Take care.